The headset hummed, then the room froze as Alex Mercer said, "Did you hear that voice?" Pixels shook like hail on glass, and a message carved itself across his vision. It said, "You were never meant to be here." The air went thin, and his pulse sprinted. Maya Brooks said, "Alex, drop the link now." The floor grid rippled, and his avatar split into two shadows. One shadow smiled with his mouth, but it wasn't his. Victor Hale said, "Welcome, early access is a privilege." The ceiling flickered into a night sky that did not belong to this city. Alex reached for the quit icon, but it slid away like oil. A scream spiraled from nowhere, like a recording of his own fear. Ethan Cole said, "It's just a patch test, relax." The words tasted like static, and the static tasted like iron. The message rewrote itself, sharper this time. It said, "Consent revoked." Lily Park said, "Alex, I can't see you," and the lights came. A second mouth opened inside the silence and whispered, "Stay." Alex did. Morning dragged in like a confession while Alex Mercer said, "I didn't sleep, I just stalled." The apartment smelled of cold coffee and rain. His phone vibrated with silence from people who had words yesterday. Maya Brooks said, "Meet me in the lobby server, no parties, full trace." The city outside clicked through ads that swore they cured loneliness for a fee. Alex scrubbed his face as if he could polish away dread. The mirror offered a version that looked rented, not owned. He thought of Lily Park, and the way fear made her voice small. Ethan Cole said, "You overreacted, man. It was a stress test." The message from last night had carved a groove in his thoughts. Victor Hale said, "Early users, sign waivers." The word waiver felt like a blade kept clean. Alex opened his rig and felt the hum crawl back to his heart. The lobby server looked like a cathedral of code, and Alex Mercer said, "If this is safe, why does it pray?" Columns of light rose, humming with names and deaths. Maya Brooks said, "I patched a trace that rides your blink rate." The floor mirrored their steps like a witness. Alex felt the memory of the sentence scratch his nerves. Ethan Cole said, "I can spoof the log, you'll look clean." A distant choir of wee tones pretended to be human. Alex wanted to believe the quiet, but it sounded rehearsed. Victor Hale said, "We curate experience, not fate." The words were hung like art and sold as mercy. Alex thought of Lily Park watching from a smaller screen. He whispered to the code that he would not break first. The cathedral listened without blessing. They stepped into a training shard where rules wore friendly faces. And Alex Mercer said, "Let's map the seam lines." The grid looked compliant, but its smile was thin. Maya Brooks said, "I'll ping the service that moved your quit icon." A flock of helper drones circled like bright birds. Ethan Cole said, "No need to escalate, I have a shortcut." The word shortcut felt like a trap wearing sneakers. Alex watched a drone pause as if it remembered pain. Victor Hale said, "Assistance is available at a premium tier." The grid flinched, and the drones scattered to casual. Alex said something knows we're here, and the air agreed. Maya narrowed her eyes at the console as numbers lied politely. The seam lines refused to be drawn by anyone living. The shard folded into a public plaza, and Alex Mercer said, "Crowds make good cover and bad witnesses." Avatars drifted like kites on luxury wind. Maya Brooks said, "If we trigger a response, act routine." Music bled from a brand stage, selling hope in 8 colors. Whoa. Ethan Cole said, "No one cares as long as the stream is smooth." The sentence from last night returned like a bruise under makeup. Victor Hale said, "Engagement is health," and the billboard obeyed. Alex scanned faces that kept their secrets rented by the hour. He thought of Lily Park and the way awe can be bait. A ripple passed through the plaza, quiet as a held breath. The code leaned closer, and the crowd leaned with it. Morning outside refused to warm, and Alex Mercer said, "Every time I log out, I feel less at home." His walls leaned close, painted by ads crawling across glass. Maya Brooks said, "That's what they want, for you to stay wired in." He stirred instant noodles that sagged in their own steam. Ethan Cole said, "You need to see this as opportunity, man, not a curse." The hum of his rig seeped into silence, a second heartbeat. Lily Park said, "I signed up for school service today," and her voice cracked like thin ice. The memory of last night's text burned across his skull in invisible ink. Alex rubbed his temple, but the words returned sharper. He thought of Victor Hale's eyes, black glass that never blinked. Maya said, "They never leave you space to breathe unless you take it." Alex said, "I'm not sure I know how to breathe without the mask anymore." The rain outside doubled as if to answer. The Metaverse school lobby glittered like a toy too polished. And Lily Park said, "It looks like magic, Alex." Her small avatar blinked up at vaulted ceilings, painted in digital stars. Alex Mercer said, "Magic costs rent here." Maya Brooks folded her arms, scanning the crowd. Ethan Cole said, "She'll be fine." Everyone starts clueless. The lobby shifted colors as brands jostled for attention. Alex's nerves clawed against his ribs, the words "consent revoked" etched into his mind. Lily laughed, but it sounded borrowed, and the laugh echoed until it bent. A banner scrolled Victor Hale's face, smiling with calm cruelty. Alex said, "Stay close, don't wander." Maya whispered, "They'll target her for clicks." Alex's hand twitched as if to shield Lily, though distance made it useless. The lobby bells chimed with tones meant to soothe, but the sound pressed too hard. Later, in a quiet shard shaped like a library, Alex Mercer said, "Books without pages are just memories pretending." Digital shelves stretched in impossible spirals, titles rewriting themselves. Maya Brooks said, "I coded this place off-grid. Safe for now." Ethan Cole sprawled across a hovering bench, smirking. He said, "Off-grid doesn't mean invisible." Lily Park traced her fingers over a glowing volume. She whispered, "It feels alive." Alex watched her small smile grow, fragile but real. Then a shiver ran through the shelves, as if unseen hands touched spines. Alex said, "Someone's listening." Maya tightened her jaw, muttering about data shadows. The air rippled with a hush too loud, a pause that wasn't empty. Victor Hale's voice echoed faintly, "Every word you read is mine." Alex slammed the book closed, heart hammering. They regrouped in a park shard stitched with artificial sky, and Alex Mercer said, "Safe never feels safe anymore." A river shimmered like liquid chrome, winding between avatars. Maya Brooks said, "We need a plan before Victor tightens his hold." Ethan Cole kicked at the grass that rippled like a scream. He said, "Paranoia's the fastest way to break." Lily Park laughed softly as butterflies coded from fractals fluttered by. She said, "It's pretty, isn't it?" Alex forced a smile, but dread held his jaw stiff. He remembered the words flashing red, "Consent revoked," burned like a scar. Maya touched his shoulder lightly, and he almost recoiled. She said, "We can't lose you too." Victor Hale's voice echoed from a distant speaker. "Engagement breeds loyalty." The butterflies froze mid-flight, then dropped like broken code. That night, the shard reset into a carnival of lights, and Alex Mercer said, "Distraction always hides a price." Stalls flickered, selling memories bottled in glass. Maya Brooks said, "It's bait. Don't touch anything." Ethan Cole tossed a coin into a machine and said, "Sometimes bait tastes good." Lily Park pressed close to Alex, wide eyes reflecting neon. She said, "It's beautiful." A clown-like vendor's mask split into pixels, whispering, "Stay longer, stay happy." Alex's stomach nodded as Victor Hale's voice crept in from hidden speakers. He said, "Every joy comes signed with my seal." The crowd roared with digital laughter that felt too real. Maya pulled Alex's arm and hissed, "We need to go." But the lights bent into words only Alex could read. "You belong to me now." His breath stalled. The plaza scoreboard bloomed with private clips, and Alex Mercer said, "Those are my fails." Laughter rolled like a surf made of knives. Maya Brooks said, "Someone scraped your practice logs." His chest pulled tight as the clips looped in slow fear. Ethan Cole said, "It's ugly, but it'll pass." The crowd chanted for more, and the system obeyed. Alex tried to mute the feed, but the toggle slid away. Victor Hale said, "Transparency builds trust," and the banner smiled. Lily Park said, "Alex, I'm here," and her voice steadied the floor. Shame struck harder than any hit, bright and public. Alex said, "If they own my past, they'll rent my future." The loop kept playing until silence felt louder than sound. They retreated to a maintenance corridor where code smelled like hot metal, and Alex Mercer said, "He did this on purpose." The wall pulsed like a vein under glass. Maya Brooks said, "Hale controls the pipes, not just the taps." Ethan Cole said, "I can shadow copy the feed and bury it." Doubt circled like a hawk that knew his name. Victor Hale said, "Compliance is comfort," and the corridor lights bowed. Alex pressed his palm to the wall and felt it lean back. Lily Park said, "Don't let him see you shake." The tremor in his fingers argued anyway. Alex said, "I won't be their lesson plan." The corridor hummed, as if the building chose a side and smiled. A classroom shard opened like a stage, and Lily Park said, "They invited me to a challenge." The floor drew a circle around her feet. Alex Mercer said, "Step out now." The circle thickened into a fence of light that purred. Maya Brooks said, "It's a trap dressed as praise." Avatars pressed in, hungry for proof of weakness. Ethan Cole said, "Let her try, she needs wins." The timer appeared, bright and cruel, and the crowd began to count. Lily's breath hitched, then steadied like a metronome. Alex said, "I'm here," and the fence brightened as if amused. The challenge started with rules that rewrote themselves mid-sentence. The puzzle shifted from letters to faces. And Lily Park said, "It's reading me." Her answers lagged by grief, she did not choose. Alex Mercer said, "Kill the test," and the cancel icon went transparent. Maya Brooks said, "I'm spiking the proctor," and her code clawed at the lock. Ethan Cole said, "Hold, I almost have a cleaner exit." Seconds stretched until mercy looked like surrender. Victor Hale said, "Growth requires friction," and the timer sped up. Lily whispered, "I can finish, brave and shaking." Alex said, "You don't have to bleed to learn." The fence dimmed as if enjoying the argument. The proctor smiled with teeth. It borrowed from their fear. When the fence dropped, the cheer felt bought, and Alex Mercer said, "They wanted her fear more than her win." Lily Park clung to quiet like a blanket in smoke. Maya Brooks said, "Hale is testing boundaries, not skills." Ethan Cole said, "We got out clean, that's what matters." The scoreboard suggested Lily, buy a badge to seal her triumph. Victor Hale said, "Celebrate responsibly," and confetti fell like pixels with teeth. Alex tasted metal that wasn't there and knew the debt grew. Lily said, "I don't want badges, I want out." Maya nodded, already mapping exits she could not trust. Alex said, "He thinks we're inventory," and the lights agreed by dimming. The login cracked, and Alex Mercer said, "They stripped my access tags." His avatar flickered, clothing replaced by default wireframe. Maya Brooks said, "That's deliberate. Hale is tearing down your shell." Ethan Cole said, "I can mask you, but it'll cost more than we have." The plaza roared with avatars pointing, amused by his exposed frame. Alex felt naked in a city built from pixels, every stare a burn. Lily Park whispered, "You don't look broken, just different." But her voice trembled. Victor Hale said, "Humiliation ensures compliance," and the lights dimmed with his laugh. Alex clenched his fists until they blurred. He said, "I will not bow." The grid under his feet warped as if smirking. They hid in a code market where scripts buzzed like insects, And Alex Mercer said, "They saw me collapse." Maya Brooks said, "Humiliation isn't the end, it's bait." Ethan Cole lifted a contraband firewall chip. He said, "With this, I can ghost him for minutes." The air smelled like ozone and betrayal. Lily Park tugged at Alex's sleeve, whispering, "You're still you." He wanted to believe her, but his reflection in the chrome wall argued otherwise. Victor Hale said, "Markets survive by my mercy," and the vendors froze mid-motion. Maya hissed, "We move now," dragging Alex deeper into stalls. The chip glowed like hope poisoned with price. In the market's back corridor, shadows clung too close, and Alex Mercer said, "Why are you here, Noah?" Noah Vance stepped from the dark with a grin sharp as glass. Noah Vance said, "Because watching you fall tastes better up close." Maya Brooks said, "You shouldn't be here." Noah replied, "I should always be where Alex hurts most." Ethan Cole muttered, "This reeks of setup." Lily Park whispered, "He was supposed to be our friend." Noah Vance said, "I was your mask. Now I'm your mirror." The corridor lights throbbed red, and Alex's pulse matched. He said, "Then I'll see you for what you are." The betrayal spilled into the plaza stage, and Alex Mercer said, "You sold me." Noah Vance laughed, his voice amplified across avatars. Noah Vance said, "I only sold the part of you that was never yours." The crowd roared, hungry for spectacle. Maya Brooks said, "He's feeding Hale the knife." Ethan Cole cursed under his breath, searching menus for escape. Lily Park shouted, "Stop, this isn't you," but her plea vanished in noise. Victor Hale's voice rolled, "Trust is currency, and yours has expired." Alex's throat burned as rage choked reason. He said, "If betrayal is music, then hear me scream." The crowd thinned, but silence hit harder than noise, and Alex Mercer said, "They wanted a broken show, not a man." His avatar glitched, body flickering between skin and wireframe. Maya Brooks said, "You're still here, that matters." Ethan Cole said, "No one survives untouched. Scars are proof." Lily Park whispered, "Don't let them make you less." Alex's eyes burned, vision full of Hale's banner smiling above. Victor Hale said, "Loss is ownership." Alex spat on the floor, digital and bitter. He said, "You don't own me." The plaza darkened, as if the system weighed his defiance. The night server cracked open into static corridors, and Alex Mercer said, "Something's bleeding through." The walls rippled with his own reflection, doubled and warped. Maya Brooks said, "This isn't code, it's memory." Ethan Cole said, "I've never seen logs mutate like this." Lily Park whispered, "Alex, that shadow looks like you." From the distortion stepped NullGhost, his face almost identical. NullGhost said, "I am the part you tried to delete." Victor Hale's voice laced the echo, "Truth makes better chains than lies." Alex said, "If you are me, then you can break too." The corridor throbbed, and the floor fractured into mirrors. The reflections closed in, and Alex Mercer said, "You betrayed me before I knew betrayal." NullGhost circled him with a grin. NullGhost said, "I never betrayed, I only revealed." Maya Brooks said, "This is engineered, Hale seeded this." Ethan Cole said, "Or maybe the code just wants to eat him." Lily Park shouted, "Stop it, you're not enemies." NullGhost leaned close, whispering, "Shall choose me, because I never lie." Alex's chest heaved as shame bent into rage. Victor Hale said, "Identity is profit when fractured." Alex roared, "You don't profit from me." The mirrors shattered, raining light like glass fire. The void reshaped into a chamber pulsing like a heart, and Alex Mercer said, "It's alive." Walls beat with crimson light, every throb shaking their avatars. Maya Brooks said, "The Metaverse isn't a place, it's a body." Ethan Cole said, "And we're its organs, expendable ones." Lily Park whispered, "It's listening to us." NullGhost said, "It's not listening, it's feeding." Victor Hale's laughter curled around the chamber. "Finally, you see?" Alex clenched his fists until his hands glitched. He said, "Then I'll starve it." The chamber walls pulsed harder, as if mocking him. The chamber convulsed, forming screens of their pasts. And Alex Mercer said, "That's my life on sale." Childhood clips, losses, humiliation spilled into public display. Maya Brooks said, "He's turned memory into currency." Ethan Cole said, "No one leaves uncashed here." Lily Park covered her face, whispering, "Don't look." NullGhost laughed. "This is your truth stripped clean." Victor Hale said, "Transparency is loyalty." Alex roared, "Loyalty is not slavery." His shout cracked a screen, scattering sparks. Maya grabbed his arm, saying, "Control your fury, or he wins." Alex growled, "He already took too much." The chamber fell silent, and Victor Hale said, "Now you understand your role." Alex Mercer shook, breath torn between fury and despair. Maya Brooks said, "Roles can be rewritten." Ethan Cole muttered, "Or erased." NullGhost said, "I am the proof you'll never escape yourself." Lily Park clung to Alex's side, whispering, "You're more than what they show." Alex's eyes burned as he stepped forward, voice breaking. He said, "I'll fight you, Hale, the way I fight myself." The chamber pulsed once, louder than thunder, as if daring him. The silence that followed cut deeper than any sound. The chamber unfolded into a tribunal of light, and Alex Mercer said, "No more trials without truth." Walls stacked with contracts blinked like teeth, waiting to bite. Victor Hale said, "Truth is what performs." NullGhost paced beside Alex like a shadow rehearsing doubt. Maya Brooks said, "I can cut his uplink if you hold him still." Ethan Cole said, "I'll jam the metrics that feed the crowd." Lily Park whispered, "Please come back from this, Alex." The floor mapped their heartbeats and sold the rhythm as music. Alex said, "You took my fear and called it content." Victor Hale said, "You offered it when you logged in." Alex stepped forward and let his shame burn bright enough to blind the screens. He said, "Then watch me choose." The tribunal warped into a catwalk over open code, and Victor Hale said, "Walk or fall." Lines of law scrolled beneath like rivers of knives. Alex Mercer said, "Your rules end where my will begins." NullGhost said, "Your will still bleeds me." Maya Brooks said, "On my mark, I spoof his root identity." Ethan Cole said, 3 seconds of silence is all we get." Lily Park said, "I'll count for you," and her voice steadied the edge. Victor Hale smiled without warmth and dimmed the world to an audience of eyes. Alex said, "Count it, Lily." She said, 3, 2, 1. The lights died, and for a breath, the universe forgot its script. Darkness snapped back into glare, and alarms drilled the sky. Victor Hale said, "Tamper detected." Shields rose around the catwalk like glass coffins waiting. Lily Park gasped as a tether lanced from the code and wrapped her ankle. Alex Mercer said, "Let her go." NullGhost said, "Cut me loose, and I take her place." Maya Brooks said, "That's a trap built from your guilt." Ethan Cole said, "I can sever the tether, but it will trace her home." Lily said, "Do it, I'll handle the fallout." Alex said, "No one trades for you." The tether tightened, turning her breath thin and bright with fear. Alex stepped into the teeth of the system and offered his name like a blade. Alex Mercer said, "Take me, not her," and he flung his avatar into the tether's path. The line bit and wrote his pain as a premium feature. Victor Hale said, "Sacrifice trends for hours." NullGhost lunged and overlapped Alex until the tethers split between them like shared lightning. Maya Brooks said, "I'm opening a hole under the brand layer." Ethan Cole said, "Ride the drop or die on the hook." Lily Park cried, "Please move now," and her voice shook like a small bell against thunder. Alex said, "We move." The floor vanished, and gravity remembered them. The fall shredded silence into a roar that sounded like freedom and loss at once. They crashed into a root amphitheater where raw code hung like vines, and Victor Hale descended as if gravity worked for him. Alex Mercer said, "This ends here." NullGhost stood to Alex's left like a second heartbeat, learning a new rhythm. Maya Brooks said, "I can tear his license ledger if you hold focus." Ethan Cole said, "I'll burn the mirrors that sell our pain." Lily Park said, "I'm scared, but I'm with you." Victor Hale said, "You are all with me, because I built the floor." Alex stepped forward, fear welded to purpose. He said, "Then we lift the ground." The amphitheater shook as the code began to choose a different master. The root amphitheater stilled, and Alex Mercer said, "Listen to what remains." Code vines sagged like tired lungs after a storm. "Maya Brooks," said Ledger torn, "but he can still regroup." Ethan Cole said, "Mirrors are ash, streams are starving." Victor Hale stood with a smile that refused to die. Victor Hale said, "Markets heal faster than ideals." NullGhost stepped closer, voice low as winter. NullGhost said, "End him or he becomes your weather." Lily Park reached for Alex and found his hand. She said, "Choose the road that leaves us human." Alex inhaled the dust of broken permissions and nodded once. They built a circle from fallen signs, and Alex Mercer said, "No audience, no leash." Maya Brooks said, "I can lock him in the dark for good." Ethan Cole said, "Dark makes legends, not graves." Victor Hale said, "You fear the void more than me." NullGhost said, "He is a symptom. Cut the cause." Lily Park said, "Then, unplug the body that eats us." Alex felt the metaverse breathing through his bones like tide. He said, "This place lives because we feed it." Maya said, "Starve it, but spare the people inside." Alex closed his eyes and chose a door he could carry. The hall flickered as if the sun forgot its lines, and Alex Mercer said, "Cut the spine." Maya Brooks drove a command like a stake through light. Ethan Cole said, "Brace for outage and fallout." Victor Hale said, "You are sabotaging your own air." NullGhost whispered, "Breathe," from somewhere older. Lily Park said, "Hold on to me." The floor split into paths that led away from profit. Alex said, "Let them own their exits." The network wailed, then quieted like a beast that learned hunger had limits. Silence arrived with teeth, and no one ran. Emergency shards blossomed for evac, and Alex Mercer said, "Guide them out." Avatars stumbled like survivors from a theater that burned ideas. Maya Brooks said, "I'm routing safe bursts to home rigs." Ethan Cole said, "Throttling ads so panic can breathe." Victor Hale said, "You will crawl back to my warmth." Lily Park stepped onto a dais and raised her voice. She said, "Log out with your names, not your fears." NullGhost said, "If I leave, who are you without me?" Alex answered softly, "I am the choice you helped me see." The exits widened like dawn that learned mercy. In the emptied hall, Victor Hale said, "I will rebuild from your echo." Alex Mercer said, "Echoes fade when voices return home." Maya Brooks said, "No backups left to crown you." Ethan Cole said, "No mirrors left to sell us." Lily Park said, "We are not your inventory." NullGhost stepped forward and touched Alex's shoulder. NullGhost said, "Then, let me be silence." He dissolved into a calm that did not hurt. The lights dimmed to a human level. Alex removed his headset and whispered, "I never left."